Steph.
Hey, Hannah.
Welcome to another episode of Bariatric Banter podcast.
Episode 10.
10. 1-0.
We did it.
Double
10.
digits.
Woo woo.
We did it. I can't believe we did it, but we did it. Here we are.
I love that we made it to 10.
Honestly, it's like thanks to everybody here. Like the fact that we are at 500 subscribers, like that's just on Spotify. We have so many more people listening on Apple than we did before. I checked the other day. Well, and I think we have like Sydney and
That's
Kentucky and Boston.
I love
Big
it.
Boston fans.
Thanks, Boston.
That's Boston. Really appreciate it. Boston's dope as hell. Just gonna throw it out there. Really love it. I've been watching those Instagrams where where that one of those dudes was like, we're gonna come and they had an ice, right? Like he's like, we're coming to Boston, and then everybody from Boston's like, over my dead body, and I'm like, Boston.
There's been so much Boston hype lately. I love
They're
it.
so great. I don't know how to do their accent at all, but it's just like
Harvard.
Come to Boston, take a car.
I've been to Boston once for work. I went to Harvard. I walked through the campus a bit. I was like, I can't go to Boston and not go to Harvard. Walked through the campus, bought myself a Harvard hoodie so I look all smart.
Like damn apples.
Yep. And it's beautiful.
Oh, I absolutely believe it. My mom loves Boston. She went once, but yeah, I just, I've been seeing their Instagrams and I'm like, Boston, you're making me proud. I'm not even an American. I'm a Canadian. And I just love the like, over my dead body, you can, like, wicked hot, come on down. It's just, I love it. That was Australian. I got real Australian there at the end of my Boston accent. But
I can't do accents. I'm not even, other than I'm not going to even try.
But we have a lot of people in Sydney and New Zealand listening now. Like, that's amazing.
Maybe
like,
one day when we get big enough, we can go on tour.
I won't go to Australia.
Go to Australia.
So you can go. I won't set foot on that spider-infested island. I love you, Australia.
I'm not staying long.
I'll literally get off the plane, do a wave, and then continue on my way. I can't.
That's the size of my head.
They discovered a new spider. So I like, listen, this is how much I know about Australia. They're going to be impressed. Australia's deadliest spider is the funnel web or funnel weave spider. And it's quite large. Google it. They've discovered a bigger version of that. And I'm pretty sure, because unless TikTok was lying to me, I'm pretty sure they named it the big boy, which is hilarious to me.
Hey, maybe we won't go. Sorry, guys.
I can't. I'm sorry, Australia. I love you. I love you. I love you. But like, how prominent are the spiders? Like, am I going to get off the plane and be like walking through Sydney and be like, oh, they're everywhere? Or is it like, you won't see them? And can you guarantee they won't be in my hotel?
And it's right beside your head.
No. I'm out. No.
Hey, sorry,
I'll go to New Zealand.
We're not going there.
I feel New Zealand probably has spiders, but does a better marketing job of convincing me they don't have them.
Right?
Go to New Zealand. Listen, we might become part of Australia, New Zealand. What is this? Can-Ux or Can-As? It's Canada, New Zealand, Australia. We're going to form like a super PAC.
As long as they keep their spiders.
Yeah, I just please get rid of the spiders. I'd maybe pick the EU over joining you guys just because of the spiders. Like, I love you. Love your accents. Bondi Beach. My favorite reality show. The spiders, guys.
Yeah.
But like, just love to everybody who listens and follows. Like, that's why we do this. And we said, like, as long as people are listening, we'll talk. We don't even need that many people, but we keep getting messages and comments and questions. And like,
the feedback
has
been amazing. Like,
just amazing.
The messages are awesome. So we appreciate whenever you take the time to send us a message. Hannah and I always get so excited when a message comes in.
We do.
So many amazing messages. And like, I've had people reach out that I've known for years that I haven't spoken to in years.
Yes.
They've reached out and are like, oh my gosh, I've struggled with this, or I've been thinking about surgery, but I didn't know anybody that I could connect to. And then we get random strangers that are, we had another one today.
Listen, I have colleagues reach out to me, like, shout out to Scott. Scott listens to my podcast. That's dope as hell. Thank you so much.
We love it. You don't have to tell us to shut up. We'll keep talking as long as
we're going to keep going. And then we've also had people be like, what do you mean you want to make it shorter? I love the 45 minutes. And I was like, that's it, Steph. One person said an hour is good, and I'm keeping an hour.
So Hannah, that was the deciding factor.
All it took, that one person
who said it's perfect for my drives. Hannah's like, well, there you go. We got it
done. Do you know how hard it was for Steph and I to get these down to 35 minutes? Like, it's just never going to happen. Get used to it, folks.
We really tried. And it's just, we can't. We like to talk. Sorry.
Sorry. Buckle up.
You're
It's
gonna
an
have to
hour.
hit pause and just make it a
You
2
can split it up. You have a whole week to listen.
Yeah.
We're going to wax poetically for an hour about weight loss and bariatric surgery. But no, I love it. I think it's more important now than ever, because I do think that we're just kind of lacking community in this space. And there's great communities out there. There's Reddit, there's Facebook, but they become oversaturated, overpopulated, and they become a bit toxic.
The same as hearing people talk. People can write whatever they want behind a keyboard. It's different hearing the personal experience, hearing the people talk. And then, as we've said, like, send us your questions. We will answer them. We'll do, if there's enough, we'll even do like an episode on those questions.
Of course we will.
We want to make sure that it's things that resonate with you guys. So reading things is one thing, but actually hearing that real experience is a whole different thing. So
yeah. And we've had a lot of people reach out who were like, whoa, I did not know that was the Canadian experience. Like, I'm thinking about doing this. Or we've even had Canadians reach out and say, hey, actually, I am paying for surgery. I know Hannah feels a certain way about it. And I was like, I do not judge any of you. You, like, honestly, we'll support you through any decision that you want to do.
You.
We're here. We got you. But it's just really cool to have so many people reach out and say, whoa, that's so different. Or, hey, did you know this actually happens in the US? Or, hey, there's this or that. Or, you know, how did you get diagnosed with this? And we've had people check in. How's your blood pressure? What do you think your PCOS is like now? So, like, bug us. We love answering it. I literally will voice message stuff the second we get a comment, be like, oh my God, did you see the comment is in there? And like, we love it. And we respond to all of them. We take the time to respond to all of you. So, and we always will. That's, you know, that's always our goal. We love this idea of a community, of a space, of a place.
Connecting people.
Where you can just ask what you want to ask, not feel embarrassed about it, not judged about it. And also where you can like find stuff on the internet and bring it to us and be like, I saw this Reddit post that these people are only eating 200 calories a day. Is that like normal? And we'll tell you if we think it is or not. It's not. But the hardest thing for me was when I went through surgery, I had no one. It was me. I had no friends that had gone through this. I had nobody that was looking into this. I was hesitant to even tell people about it. I've seen some advice floating around recently that I don't agree with. That is, you shouldn't tell anybody you're doing it. No, not at all. Not at all good advice. You should be able to talk about this, and you need to find your tribe and tell them. But it was hard for me because I didn't know what's true, what's not true. I had to navigate Canada versus US. I had to navigate VSG versus bariatric. I had to navigate like so many things that I just didn't know about. And I wish that I just had somebody to talk to, especially in the early days, to be like, is this normal? It's so, your normal changes. And it's so crazy how you can't trust your own body, or you just don't know. Your body's an amazing machine that's going to be fine. But you just wish that you had somebody to go, hey, oops, I accidentally ate salad early. Am I going to die? You're not going to blow up. You're fine.
My message the other day that I accidentally ate pork.
I know. I was going to use pork as an example. Be like, no, I'm not. I'm not calling you out.
We're lucky that I had you, because I would have been in the same boat. Like, I can't imagine not having anybody, because like, you can ask Hannah, the amount of times I messaged her in that first year, especially, was excessive. But it's because like there is so little out there, or it's all conflicting. And so to have that first-hand account, and not to say that Hannah's experience would be the same as mine, because it hasn't been, but at least to get that first-hand experience from somebody, and then to message them and say, I messed up. I'm not supposed to have pork until May, and I've had pork for the last 3 days, and I just realized now that it was pork.
Oops.
Whoopsies.
And I was like, listen, you're literally fine. It's just harder to digest. So they don't want you going back into pork chops and things that are big, because it won't move through your system fast enough and could get stuck.
Sounding board, and to have that reassurance, and to have, like I said, that firsthand experience with somebody is so beneficial. So
because while our steps are different, we are going through a lot of the same thing. Hair loss, you know, how do we deal with the fullness? How do we deal with that? And now, you know, yes, we're at different places, but it's great for me to talk to Steph about where I'm at, even though she's not here yet, and just be like, I think, you know, am I overeating? Am I not eating enough? Is this where I'm supposed to be? And like, even just to be able to say, man, did you see that video on TikTok? Like, do you think that that's what we have to do? Like, is that normal? Like, we still question a lot of things. Steph and I still are in this journey and have so many questions of our own, but what would have been helpful was just being able to listen to people literally talk through the journey and pick apart things, and just be honest with it. I kind of found that people, when they hit a certain level of notoriety, maybe like really became shallow. And I don't mean that from their personality. I mean in like what they were offering became like bare minimum info. Where we were like, wow, you're not showing macros anymore. Wow, you're not actually telling people what you're eating. Wow, you're not actually sharing any helpful information. This has now become like a promotional channel, which like, get your money, get your bag. I'm all about that. That's fine. But the big thing for Steph and I is we're going to be honest. We're going to show the highs and the lows.
Yeah, important.
And I don't like the people that have kind of derailed from that, where it's like, you're not telling the whole truth. And that's, to us, we find that more dangerous. There's been numerous times this week we sent each other messages where I'm like, I'm concerned if this is what this person was prescribed to be on, or I'm concerned, like, is this what I need to be doing? We've seen some of our favorite followers all be talking about regain recently, and it sent me into a massive tailspin that I talked through with Steph, where I was like, oh no, how are they regaining? They seem to be eating less than I'm eating. Oh no. And like, Steph's a great guidepost for, hey, logically, you're not eating enough to gain weight. Like, hey, you don't know their whole story. Hey, they could be lying about what they're eating. Like, and the truth is, yeah, they're showing such a minimal part of their day. It's very hard to base your life off of that. And that was worrying for us.
And we talked about that, about in our other episode about the transparency. And that's where, like Hannah said, we will give you the nitty gritty. Like, we will tell you the good and the bad. And yeah, a lot of these people, you're getting those minuscule tidbits of information, right? And we've talked about that. They don't owe us.
They don't owe us
their full history. But when you get to a certain level that people are taking medical advice from you and pharmaceutical advice from you and using you as a resource for that, you owe them a certain level of transparency and honesty. And again, we don't need the nitty gritty, but divulge that there's maybe more to it than what we're seeing, and that's their personal business, and that's fine. So we may have situations where we have something very personal where we may kind of keep it a little back, but overall, the point of this is to be upfront, be transparent, be honest, give you guys the ins and outs so that if you are, especially in Canada, and you're looking at going down this road, that you know what you're getting into, that you have a place you can ask questions. Yes. You can hear the pros and the cons and then make informed decisions for yourself.
Yeah. And that's all we're trying to do is like, I just don't find enough Canadians to kind of help with things like our anger over how do I get protein yogurt in Canada? Oh, so if there's any lovely Canadians that want to send me a tariff-free package to Ontario of Oikos yogurt, let's talk after this episode of the podcast, because I would love that. But yeah, there's just things like, how do we source things in Canada? What's good in Canada? What's not good in Canada? And there's other things like, please don't make that recipe. It's total shit. And the macros suck. That's become like, if I have an alter ego on Instagram, I think the alter ego is let me go and burst the bubble of these protein recipe people.
High protein recipes.
I had a comment blow up where I went in and was like, this is in no way high protein. It had like 12 grams of protein and 500 calories. And people were like, no, I figured it's only 200 calories. And so I screenshotted my MyFitnessPal and I was like, guys, this uses heavy whipping cream, dates, walnuts, cream cheese. Like, I don't mean to ruin things for you, but you can't slap high protein on everything and consider it high protein. High protein is more protein than calories if you add a 0 to the protein. And like, high protein for me is anything that's 20 grams or higher, to be perfectly honest, except for my yogurt, because in Canada, the best we can do is 18.
Thanks, Canada.
Yeah, thanks, Canada. Blame Canada. Now, I love Canada. Very proud to be Canadian.
On how angry we are about
Make no mistake. Do not take that out of context. I love Canada. Love being a Canadian.
We just don't like the yogurt in Canada.
Yeah, we really need the Oikos high protein yogurt. I think Sweden has
Danone Light and Fit. If you're listening to this podcast,
yeah, sponsor us.
Why do we have Danone yogurt in Canada?
Thank you.
Light and Fit.
And I'd like to point out, we have Danone drinkable yogurt that's 24 grams of protein. Where's my little cups? Where's my 24 cups?
Cherry cheesecake cup.
Yeah. Come on, Danone. Somebody message them. Tell them we're angry and we want a sponsorship.
Anybody listening? Does anybody work at Danone or have connections?
Or does anybody have a good Canadian high protein yogurt recommendation? I mean high protein.
I did buy the Oikos 18 gram, the Pro.
Yeah.
It's in the fridge downstairs. I haven't opened it yet. So we'll see how it is. Oh, Hannah. Well, okay.
I'm sorry. I go with Siggy's.
Yes.
Yay, Siggy's.
They didn't have the store I was
they're not
at.
Canadian, but they're like European. So like in Canada, we're trying to support Canada first. Then if we can't support Canada, Europe or Mexico, basically don't support America. If you don't know why, you should, but just Google. So I do Siggy's. They're, I don't know, Scandinavian. I get their vanilla, which is 18 grams of protein. The problem is I can't eat 175 grams of it.
I went to the little the 18 store and they didn't have it, so I had to get the Oikos.
Oh, it's tough to find Siggy's, and Siggy's is pricey. Yeah. So if anybody has a good recommendation, we are basically looking for 20 grams or higher. That doesn't require us to eat half the tub to get that. Really, we're looking at 100 grams would be ideal for the, because I'm pretty sure the Oikos minis are 130.
I think so. There's also, I think it's called, is it Source yogurt? Source protein?
So I tried it. I only can find it for 6 grams.
Oh, I got a 10 gram.
Okay. But they're small.
It's a thinner yogurt. I got the big tub. Yeah. But it's a thinner consistency. I like the thick Greeky type consistency. Yeah. So anyway.
If anybody has recommendations or knows of this like hidden Canadian, if not, I think Steph and I will just start making our own yogurt and pitas and tortillas. We're just going to launch a Canadian protein brand because it's about time. So
we're going to hit up
let's get going.
Stay tuned.
Like some protein maple syrup and, some protein poutine and stuff. I'm
going to fulfill my dream of having a farm. Hannah's going to come and we're just going to enter the food industry now.
100%. Canadian protein. Here we go.
Thank you.
I'd love recommendations for good Canadian protein yogurt and then just in general, good protein powder. I used to buy Ghost. I love it. But like I said, I'm trying to support Canadian or our allies. So if anybody has any recommendations for protein powder that I need to check out and look at, would love to hear it. Love it. Cool. Well, on episode 10, whoa, double digits, 10. This is fitting. We are going to finish our surgery story. So we started our surgery story a couple weeks ago where we talked to you about pre-op, day of surgery, what that was like. Now it's time to finish this journey, bring it home and tell you what it was like going home the day or the day after surgery and what it kind of looked like in that first year or first couple of months. And then just maybe a brief, what does it look like 2 years post-op? So we're going to, and the differences between, we went to the same clinic, but whoa, the differences between 1 year are insane. And I know someone going through the Guelph program and they're different than what Steph just went through, which is crazy. And Steph knows somebody who went to a clinic an hour away and her whole journey was different.
Vastly different.
It's so, all right, we're going to get into it. And sorry, my dog is like, hey, pay attention to me. Get off this podcast.
I can hear kids out there.
Love Bobo. Okay, so the last podcast we caught you up on. So if you want to listen, that's episode 7, part 2, is where we go through what it was like the day that we had surgery. Going into the operating room, coming out, blue shit all over my face that they left on. Steph got pampered and her face wiped off and she got foot rubs and the whole shebang. I got thrown into bed and told to get up and get out. So yeah, it's great. It's super great. See how we were treated. It's fine. So now we're both going home. So this is where the differences start. There were slight variations before. This is where they really kick into the different tracks. So I go home the same day. So I roll up for my surgery March 13th, 2023. Woo! 7 a.m. I check in at 6. My surgery is at 7. And they wake me up. They shake me out. And I'm headed home at 3:30 that afternoon. So I've done my laps around the surgical floor. I've had my my apple juice, which was like so good.
Never had.
So delicious. I've become quite obsessed with hospital apple juice and orange juice. Having spent a week in the hospital over just before Christmas, I continuously, they were like, boy, you like the juice. And I was like, this is the best apple juice I've ever had. Can I get the orange juice? Everything but cranberry was delicious. So, hey, it's time for you to go home. Our surgeon comes in. I'm not going to name his name. Our surgeon comes in and he chats with me and he chats with my mom. And I'm standing at this point, which is great. How you doing? How you feeling? Great. Okay, we've got your, you got to go pick up your prescriptions, which for some reason couldn't do at the hospital. So you're going to go pick up your prescriptions just down the road, boop, boop, boop. And we're going to call you tomorrow morning to do your check-in. Now, keep in mind, 2023, they still had COVID protocols in place, even though COVID was vastly done. The hospitals were still worried about outbreaks. So there was no in-person follow-up. It was, we will call you. This was the last time I saw someone in person, was this day. So I felt pretty good. I went out. They wheeled you out in a wheelchair. You have absolutely no choice. You're getting pushed out in a wheelchair. Fine. So we get to the door. My mom brings the car around. We start laughing hysterically because I was like, in hindsight, you should not have brought the car. So my mom drove down to stay with me for post-surgery. And my mom's, I always say this, a baller. She bought a Challenger. She drives a Dodge Challenger Hellcat. And she, got it for herself with her own. She was so proud of this. And we laughed like hell because I was like, so this little two-door car that you have to get down to get in, this muscle car. And I was like, in theory, we should have taken Dad's Jeep. Why did we take this car for this? Yeah. So here I am like trying to, and I'm still fat at this point, guys. I haven't lost any weight. So I'm like trying to, I'm trying to get in this car and we're laughing. And I was like, I just want to go home. I slammed the seat back as far as it goes. And I was like, ugh. And because it's not sore, but it's not comfortable. And so I can't find a spot. And I'm just like, go to the pharmacy. And we hit every pothole on the way to that pharmacy. It's just, and you can hear my mom laughing. And I was like, oh my God,
this is not funny.
We had to Google a Rexall to get to. So we go to the store. We put our prescription in. She goes, you coming with me? I said, sure. When I was 17, I had my wisdom teeth out. And I felt great when they took me out of recovery. And my mom was like, I have to go to the grocery store, but I'm going to drop you off at home. And I was like, no, I'm going to the grocery store. I feel great. She's like, are you sure? And I was like, shut up and go to the grocery store. Let's do it. We get to the grocery store and I'm walking in and we just get in and I look at her and I go, I'm not okay. We must get back to the car now. This was a huge mistake. Everything starts closing in. And I was like, I'm going to pass it. We got to go. And we hightail it back to the car. He's super annoyed. And then I pass out as soon as we get home. As soon as the front door opens, I went down. All of this comes flooding back to me while I'm standing in line at the pharmacy. And I start having a panic attack. And I look at my mom and I go, here's the prescription. Tell them I'm in the car. Tell them I just had surgery. Literally this morning, I can't be here. I have to go to the car. She's like, okay. And I was like, I gotta go. I have to go. I just start panicking. And I remember I grabbed a bottle of water and was like, I'm taking a bottle of water. And I whipped out to the car and I just sat there and I was like, breathe. Remember what your therapist said. It's going to be very rare for you to pass out from anxiety. You're okay. Just breathe in, breathe out. And I was fine. I just needed a minute. I had to go back in because obviously they weren't going to give her my drugs. So I went back in and they said, here's your prescription. I refused to take the Oxy. I said, keep it. They said, well, no, ma'am, we filled your prescription. I said, I'm telling you, I'm not taking it. Keep it. I don't need Oxy for minor surgery, might I add. I said, no, I have Tylenol at home. I feel fine. I'm literally standing here verbally speaking to you right now, post-surgery from 8 hours ago. I'm not taking it. And I don't want to throw it in the garbage and have somebody find it and use it. Opioids are no joke and I don't need them. So I had a nice little fight with this man at the pharmacy. Got the rest of my medication, which was an anti-nausea pill. They're black and pink. Cool. Look like paintballs. Anti-nausea pill. The black and pink pill was a heartburn pill. So acid reflux pill. Then I got an anti-nausea to make sure I wouldn't throw up and that I wasn't, you can't really throw up the first 2 days. It's not recommended. And then I picked up something else that I can't remember. Couldn't have been that important. Can't remember. Softener. Oh, yeah. Help me poop. I got the poop stool softener. Yeah. And then on the way out, I also picked up some Metamucil and some Tylenol. So that's what I picked up. But yeah, stool softener, help you poop. The black and neon pink the friggin' heartburn acid reflux, which you must take for a month. And then I got anti-nausea. We'll see what Steph got when she left. I got anti-nausea and then I went home. And at this point, it was probably 5 p.m. We get in the house. My mom goes, I'm going to bed. And I was like, oh, she's like, I am exhausted. I've been up all day with you. I was like, all right, fair. I guess I was unconscious for most of it. And she's like, I'm tired. I'm going to go to bed. And I said, that's cool. I had made my spare room up for her and everything. So I was like, I guess I'll go to bed too. And I remember feeling fine, crawled into bed, didn't have the dog at the time. So just had a cat, brought my heating blanket and went to bed around 6 p.m., slept till about 5 a.m., felt fine and dandy. no pain, no issues, no nausea, no vomiting. Woke up the next morning and went grocery shopping with my mom. Again, had minor PTSD that I'd pass out, but did really well. We went around and got some bone broth and some soup. And I was like pre-planning for a week out when I could eat food. Well, eat soup. So just got some stuff there so I could start meal prepping to take my mind off literally being on a clear liquid diet for a week. You're not hungry, but it's still like mind numbing that this is what life is like. Then there was a minor family emergency and my mom's like, I really hate to do this, but I have to leave. And I was like, you know what? I feel fine. I had my follow-up call with the hospital, which she stayed for. And they said, wow, you sound good. Everything seems great. I said, yeah, I feel really good, guys. Like I have lots of energy. I'm not hurting. So my mom left. She was really hesitant to go. She felt so bad. And I was like, Mom, listen, like I feel really good. I can take care of myself. And what I did was I reached out to my pottery girls. I call them the pottery girls. They're my friends. We do pottery together. We have a little collective where we sell our pottery. It's pretty cool. But I reached out to them and I said, my mom has a family emergency and she has to go back to Windsor. Would anybody be able to come just hang out with me during the day tomorrow? And these fucking incredible human beings, the four of them, literally all started picking a different day. Okay, I'm gonna go tomorrow. I can come between 11 and 3. Okay, Meg, you're gonna go Friday. Great. Okay, you're gonna go. Alicia, you're Saturday. Great. Okay, Kira, can you take Sunday? Like they all picked a day and committed to either working from my house for the day because they work from home or hanging out with me. And like I could not have felt more loved in my entire life. And my mom was like, oh, okay, I feel way better going, knowing that people will be with you. Yeah. Yeah. But I got all teared up. They're the lovely human beings. I love my pottery girls. But I was great. Like even they would come over and be like, how you doing? And I joked to my mom. She's like, so how was it? I was like, I love them. But at one point I was like, I'd really like some alone time.
Please go home now.
I really just want to play video games and like sleep.
Chill.
But it was great. So my whole first week was liquids. They make you drink every 30 minutes. You're drinking out of a little, when you have liquid medicine and you put it in the little shot glass that comes with, that's what you drink out of. And you keep a record. And every 30 minutes, you must have a little sip of this. And that's it. It was watered down juice because you need the sugar, water, Gatorade was okay. I had the sugar-free Gatorade. And then
free Jello.
The Jello, the sugar-free clear Jello. No to the pudding, no to anything else outside. I could have tea, but caffeine-free tea. No coffee, no milk products, no protein shakes at this stage. Like it is a week of clear fucking liquids. And they do consider Jello clear. So like I was sucking back Jello cups like a motherfucker. Yeah. I wasn't hungry. You're not hungry. I was not craving food. My nausea was good. Now, probably because I got anti-nausea pills, but I stopped taking them 3 days after. I felt great. I wasn't really nauseous. I didn't have problems till week 2, but I'll wait because I want Steph to fill you guys in on going home and the first week at home because it differs slightly from what mine looked like.
Yeah. So I was in the hospital for overnight. I live about an hour and 45 minutes away from the hospital that the surgery was in. So just as a precaution, they want you to be within a certain distance of their emergency room should something happen, which is totally fair. I get that. So I was there overnight. So got sent to my room. Same thing as Hannah was like, let's get up. Let's go. I snoozed off and on for a bit. My surgery was at 10:30. So I was there for 8:30. Same thing, got in, got good surgery, got back to the room, hung out, sent Devin home because it was boring. Hannah came for a bit.
I did.
You did? While I just slept and could barely keep my eyes open. And then I was back in my room, I think about 1 p.m.-ish. And by 4, I was up and walking. And then they kind of left me alone because I was fine. I had my water. I had my juice, which, you need the juice. You need the sugar after. As soon as I had that juice, I felt a lot better. Now, I had some nausea, not much. And I had gas pain. Again, not much, but just a little bit of discomfort. Like enough that walking helped. A little bit of like shoulder, gas pain, nothing crazy. Did my laps every so often. Didn't really get much sleep because I was in the hospital in a room with a very noisy woman. But they just kind of left me. They came in every so often, checked on me. But other than that, easy peasy. I was out by 9 a.m. the next day. The ride home again was interesting. Devin it was an hour 45. So at one point, we almost stopped just to walk for a little bit, but we made good time. It was fine. And then same thing. We had to stop at the pharmacy. I don't know why you can't get your stuff at the hospital pharmacy. You're already there.
Yeah, that's weird, right? That's like
then. But Devin went in, picked up my meds. They gave him all my meds. So he came home. We got settled. I had already had the couch set up, ready to go. Got settled on the couch. And then, he handed me my meds, and I opened them and I was like, yep, there's the Prevacid. There's the reflux meds. There's the stool softener. And then I pulled out another one and I was like, what is this? And oxys. And I was like, I don't need 10 oxys. I think I'm fine.
No.
I had 2 little bags of tramadol at the hospital, and I didn't even know what they were. Otherwise, I would have said I don't need it. They hung my IV and they just hung it. They didn't even ask. And then when they hung the second bag, he's doing it. I wasn't really paying attention. And then as he goes to leave, he makes a comment, and the nurse, he said, just a heads up, that's your last bag of that. And I was like, and I kind of looked, I was like, oh, there's 2 bags. I'm like, what is that? And then he said tramadol. And it's basically a strong Tylenol.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Yeah. But I was like, oh, I don't need that. I'm fine.
Yeah.
So then after that, they didn't give me any more. So definitely did not need oxys. Never used them. I don't even think I took Tylenol. To be honest, I think I was fine. I had, again, discomfort. My incisions didn't hurt. Again, like we said, getting up every few minutes to walk around a little bit. And I still at home had a little bit of the gas pain. I did have nausea, but I didn't get anti-nausea medication like Hannah did. She was lucky. I got nothing. What I found was my issue with nausea, and I had this at the hospital too, is I suffered from water nausea for a long time.
You did.
It didn't go away until about month 3 post-op. So basically what that is plain water. For whatever reason, they don't know why. It only affects some people. Some people it's really short. Some people it's a very long time. But basically plain water makes you almost throw up or want to throw up.
Yeah.
So I couldn't have plain water. So I did a lot of watered down apple juice, and then clear broth and Jello and Gatorade is what the Jello cups were.
A lifesaver.
They were the best. And then, I had the little medicine cups, and I had a tracking sheet that I actually found on the internet from another clinic where it was broken down by hour, it was either 15-minute or 30-minute intervals, and then a little dash. And every time you would have
with one.
Oh, I didn't. See? You got anti-nausea pills, and
I know, right? It made up for the blue face.
I found this I printed a bunch, and then every day I would date it, and then I would put my start time, and then every time I would have my little 1 ounce shot glass, I would put it, and then I would tally them every hour, how many of them I had, and then that first week was honestly I came home on a Saturday. Devin was back at work on Monday. Monday morning, I was making lunches for the kids, getting them off to school, up and about. They were super great. They were awesome helpers. Yeah. The only thing I really struggled with in the first week, and I don't know if it was the nausea or the gas pain, but I had a lot of discomfort going from sitting to getting up. That movement of this.
Yeah.
So Devin had to help me do that a lot, or I had to make sure that if I was home by myself that I had something to brace on.
Okay.
It was minimal, and it was only as I was in that moment, and then I was fine. And that only lasted, I'd say maybe that lasted maybe a week, maybe. Yeah. But my incisions were fine. In feeling internal wise, I would have never known I had surgery. I was fine.
Yeah, I was back to driving within a week.
Me too.
I felt fine. I had some acid reflux. I really did have that. That was a bit annoying, with just the water in my system. Drinking regular water. I did not get the nausea, but it sucked. So I know that there's a lot of joking about water talk. And yes, I do know that I have said, I think it's absurd to put 7 pumps of anything in what you drink. But I think some of where water talk is coming from are bariatric patients. There's just something, and I can't explain it, because before surgery, I would drink water like a fish. Like my mom would say, like, have some milk, have something else. I'm like, nah, man, water. Loved it. After surgery, like I just couldn't. I couldn't even finish a glass of plain water.
It made me gag so bad.
It was too hard on my stomach. But if I put a Crystal Light in it or a powdered Gatorade, man, Gatorade was like, I could polish a bottle of Gatorade. And I remember the day I did, and I was like, I could chug this Gatorade. And I buy the sugar-free Gatorade. Can't chug. Okay, so I am going to say week 2 starts, and I 100% already had a straw. So 0 fucks given on the straw rule. I get that they're like, the straw's going to put air in your whatever. I ended up getting one of those bottles that has the numbers on the side. And so I would just fill it in the morning with my sugar-free Gatorade, and I would just sip throughout the day. And I found sipping so much easier. Like I was getting way more water in when I bought a straw than I was before.
And the visual of having it in front of you makes, if I fill a water bottle, so I've been using a water bottle with just a little hole, like a valve that opens and you drink from. I do have a Stanley that I've started using that has a straw, but it has one of those straws that like it holds when you suck up the liquid, it holds the liquid in place. It's not like a regular, it empties and goes.
Yes.
I haven't used we'll call it a regular straw yet, just because I haven't.
That's fine.
I'm not against it. I just haven't.
They're great.
But if you have the visual, if I have a big water bottle in front of me and I see the water, I'm way better at drinking it than if I do it by the glass. It's just a mental
psychosomatic or whatever they call it. Yeah, the straw helped. So don't give water talk people shit, because I can't explain it, but I can't drink plain ass water. I can't explain it for the life of me. I can't do it, but I will drink the crap out of a Crystal Light water. Like I'll polish a good 2 liters in one go of Crystal Light if I had to.
It's
so that, you know, that's weird. It happened after surgery. It's very weird. I can't get over it. It just is what it is. So we're coming up on week 2, and it's like, cool, we can have soup now. You know, we're not just on clear broth. Broth for some reason was not allowed. Broth was not allowed on the clear liquid diet. I remember. I swear we had this conversation. Maybe it was pre-op.
It was on. We even looked at our sheets.
Yes, and mine said no.
And my sheet said yes.
Yeah, and I was like, well, good thing I cheated and had it anyway. But I was told no broth during the clear liquid diet because, like, well, no, it needs to be clear. She's allowed to go have clear broth. So I had broth.
Chicken broth. Yeah.
At some point, I was like, I'm going to faint if I don't get some protein in my body. So I'm having broth. Now we get into like the weeks that meld together, and I'm not going to remember them. So we'll say week 2.
Just talk about how we cried. Do you remember what made us both cry? You recommended this to me.
Oh my God.
Yeah. I literally cried.
Write this down. Everyone listening, get a piece of paper, write this down. Do not roll your eyes at me, because I promise you this is the best meal you're ever going to have after surgery.
Tears. Literal
The
tears.
best. So don't even judge before you've had surgery. So there was a restaurant in Nova Scotia that had this soup years ago that I loved, and I found the recipe for said soup and was like, that's what it is. So when you get to move on to soup, which is the happiest day of your goddamn life, because at this point, you are 3 to sometimes 6 weeks of an all liquid diet at this point. For me, I was 4. I was on going on 4 weeks of a liquid, you know, your 2-week pre-op, so 3 weeks of a liquid diet. And I get to have soup. You're going to go buy yourself a can of Campbell's cream of tomato soup, not roasted tomato, cream of tomato Campbell's soup. Then you're going to go buy yourself a can of cream of cheddar cheese soup. Do not roll your eyes and make disgusted looks at me. Go buy both of these soups. You are then going to go buy dill, fresh dill, not dill weed, not dried dill. You can get the dill paste. That's equally as good, but fresh dill or dill paste, not dried dill. You are going to mix the cream of tomato with the cream of cheddar. Do not add water. You are going to mix that, cook it. You're going to put the dill on top. Then you will cry as you eat your 2 ounces of the literal best soup you've ever had in your life.
Literally cried. And I remember Hannah telling me she cried when she ate it, and I was like, okay, it's soup, like get a grip. And I had my little, I still have a picture of it, my little bowl that like fit in my palm, and I took the first bite, And I just sat there, and I remember Devin looking at me. He's like, "Are you okay?" And I looked up, and I just had tears down my face. And he's like, "Are you okay?" Like, thought I was, and I was like, "It's so good. It's so good.
It's so good."
I made batches of that. I bought little 2-ounce like Jello shooter cups, and
yes.
I fill those with the tomato cheddar soup. The whole shelf of my fridge was tomato cheddar soup.
I lived on it. It is the best. Now, that early into the stage, I wasn't really kind of caring too much about the macros, and they kind of don't care that much either. Yes, there's some sodium in that, but like, it's soup. You're going to be fine. But I have a photo because I started on the 5th day. I was told like, you can move, like everything's good. It's been a work week. You're good. Because I was feeling really weak. I was starting to feel very tired, and I didn't take any time off work. So that's the difference between Steph and I as well. Like, I went back to work like day 3. She took time off. I should have done that. Not that it was hard to do, but I kind of just wish I had time off to play video games and do nothing. Yeah. But I was feeling really, really, really weak. And so I do have a post on my Instagram, day 5 post up, Campbell's tomato soup mixed with Campbell's cheddar and add dill. Did I cry when I ate this? Yes. Yes, I did. I bawled my eyes out, and it took me 2 hours to eat that soup, but I ate that soup. And again, when you're like 2 weeks post-op, you don't have to worry about you only have 30 minutes to eat, don't eat. Like, they want you just to get stuff in you.
At this point,
Liquid, the rules for liquid aren't the same as food. So obviously for food, they don't want you spending 2 hours eating it, but liquid is going to take you a long time to drink. So from here on out, everything is kind of easy. The first week was gravy. Week 2 kind of sucked for me. One of my sutures popped open. So I just went to an emergency clinic, and he taped it back up. Literally no biggie there. I started throwing up. I had gone out and bought super fancy soup because I was like, yeah, I'm going to have fancy soup. I should have just stuck to Campbell's tried and true. But I got this carrot ginger soup from a really fancy store in Kitchener called Dana Short Gourmet. I didn't account for how rich that soup was going to be. It had coconut milk. There was tons of sugar from the vegetables. I projectile vomited for a solid 2 hours after eating that. It's not great. I again went to my doctor because I'm like, I'm only 14 days post-op and I'm vomiting. So he's like, you're fine. You don't have a hernia. Nothing's good. So I then kept going back to Campbell's, my tried and true. Eventually, I started adding Greek yogurt to my Campbell's to get a little bit more protein in and thicken it out. But I'm feeling really, really great until obviously I start projectile vomiting. And then I tell everyone, I'm screwed.
Don't eat the soup.
Wasn't great. I started going back to pottery by week 2. I was driving. I started seeing my personal trainer again in week 2, just for walking, not for weightlifting. Literally everything from the time I went home onward was great. And I know that's not everyone's experience, but I had no complications. I had no issues. I did have vomiting when I ate the soup. Around the 3-month mark, it wasn't the 3-month mark, I'm being too generous. Around the 30-day mark, I got the really smart idea that I could eat a McDonald's ice cream because I was like, well, I'm eating pureed food. I'm handling Greek yogurt really well. What's ice cream except Greek yogurt that's cold? Like, this will be fine. So I ordered a super tiny hot fudge sundae. Again, not entirely sure. I'm only like a month post-op. Old 300-pound Hannah's eating habits are still raging supreme. Wasn't even, just thought, anyway, I projectile vomited for a solid 2 days. I had a few bites of it. I felt great. 10 minutes later, I realized I had made a massive, massive, massive mistake. That's called dumping syndrome for those who don't know, and I could not stop vomiting. It was not worth it. I laid in the bathtub. I cried in the bathtub. I rocked back and forth in the bathtub. I was like, oh, I'll never do this again. I never did it again. That's also a lie. At the 6-month mark, I did try to eat ice cream on a cruise and then ended up in the same fetal position, vomiting on the cruise bathroom. So don't do ice cream, okay? But literally, I went to the movies week 3. I went to the movies with friends. That was easy, but what was tough was getting back into my life was easy. Going to the movies 3 weeks post-op, you're not really that hungry. So I will point out there, your body's not grumbling for food or dying for food. Your head hunger is real, where you oh, I'm used to eating at this time. So you're not eating much. You're eating 200, 300 calories. So I go to the movies with a really good friend of mine, and the whole time he was like, "You want some popcorn?" Like just subliminally, would anytime he opened like his M&Ms, "You want some M&M?" Like he would just instinctively like. And at one point, I had to stop him and say, "If you don't stop fucking offering me food, like I'm going to leave this theater. Stop it!" And he was like, "I'm so sorry." And I was like, "Why did we come here?" Like I just could smell the popcorn, and I was like, "This was a mistake." I've since gone to the movies like millions of times, and it's so much easier when you can pack a protein bar or bring your own popcorn. But 3 weeks post-op, it was too much. Yeah. Too much. I missed my old life. I started regretting my decision. I just wanted food. But then I reminded myself, your life no longer revolves around food. You don't want to go back because you smell popcorn. No. You're good. In the first couple of months, I hosted a dinner party with friends, which was awesome. Like I put out cut up cucumbers and edamame dip and like super low cal crackers. And like, I was like, wow, I can still host dinner parties where people can eat. Yeah. And I can have some of this. Like, it was great. I went back to caffeine coffee. I started walking, working out. I'm privileged to say I had zero issues with this surgery. I had no complications, no issues. Everything kind of worked the way it was supposed to. We'll talk about stalls in another episode. That's a normal part of this process. But everything did kind of work the way it was supposed to. I transitioned to food at each stage like I was supposed to. So you'll have a clear liquid diet. Then you'll go to a pureed diet. Then some people go to a soft food diet. So pureed is like your thicker soups. Like your
roasted vegetables blended with stock into a soup.
Really creamy, runny potatoes if you're going to have potatoes. You have limitations. No corn, no raw vegetables for 6 months, no pork for 6 months.
No red meat, period.
No red meat for 6 months. Too hard to digest, not good on your system. So you're on the pureed stage. Then you go to the soft food stage. Scrambled eggs, tuna salad, chicken salad, mashed potatoes. And like go out and buy yourself those instant mashed potato bags because sweet baby Jesus, it was so good. With cottage cheese, like chef's kiss. Fucking lived on mashed potatoes for like a solid month. I just ate mashed potatoes. Still lost weight. So then you're on the soft food stage, and then boom, you are on regular food. I think regular food was I was on the soft food stage for 28 days. So I'd say you're like 2 months post-op when you move to...
I was going to say, it's like between 6 and 8 weeks, depending on where you are.
That you move to real food. Still small portions, but like real food. Still no raw vegetables. You're out of luck for 6 months on raw veggies. And trust me, you'll be craving a salad by then.
3 months for raw veggies.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, 3 months for veggies, because salad day was a big day.
Big day. And I remember telling Steph, this is going to be a huge day for you. You're going to start craving salad. And I remember, I'm sure she thought, there's no way. You crave salad. You crave it.
All I wanted was salad. And I remember the day before my 3 month mark, I almost did it, but I was like, no, I'm going to wait. And that 3 month a day is going to be a big day because it's going to be 3 months and it's going to be salad and veggies. And I remember I love the pre-bagged, I don't know what brand it is, but it's the dill pickle.
Yeah, Costco sells it.
Yeah, whatever brand it is. I love pickles. I love pickles. And so I had that in the fridge, and like that day was a glorious day. I had the dill pickle salad, and I had pickles, and I had cucumber. I just remember it. And I had tomato cucumber salad. You crave raw vegetables so bad.
So bad.
And now I'm craving a hamburger so bad.
So good.
Because no red meat till 6 months.
Yeah, it's awesome. Like how much you crave salad is awesome is what I mean. But you don't miss certain things, like, and during this whole thing, you're not hungry. So I'd say, I guess we'll go up to the first 4 months, because Steph, you were at 4 months. So in the first 4 months, like your calories will change rapidly. Don't be afraid of that. You're going to be very scared of that, because you're going to be going from like 200 calories to now you're going to be looking down the barrel of eventually getting to 1,000, because you will get to 1,000 before the end of your first year.
And when you have to increase, I just increased a couple weeks ago, and I'm still like, I increased from, I was at 650.
Yeah.
Now my daily max is 790. I don't hit it. I'm afraid to hit it. I usually come in at around between 7 and 730. depending.
Okay.
But I had to increase my protein. I was stalling, which we'll talk about another time. And I thought, you know what? Every time that's happened so far, that's been my body's way of telling me that I need to increase my protein. And as soon as I do, it works. As soon as I have a stall, and it's not really a stall because it's only like 5 days. A stall is typically a couple weeks. But once I hit that 5-day plateau, that's typically when the first thing I should look at my protein. So I had to increase my calories. It's terrifying. And it's funny because like Hannah tells me all the time, whenever I step on the scale and it doesn't go down, she's like, Steph, you're in a massive calorie deficit. Your body is not going to gain weight. Like, shut up, stop complaining. Because I'm still only at 700 and something calories, but it was terrifying to increase to that number. And realistically, I know that is still a massive calorie deficit.
Yes.
But it's such a mind
fuck.
Yeah.
Yeah. Game. Sorry.
Well, I was thinking, I'm like, I'm gonna keep it out.
I know. Hannah over here swearing.
I thought there'd be a day when I would be terrified to increase my calories to 790.
Yeah.
And
she's right. Like, there is that notion of, no, I can't be eating more. This is so bad. In no logical way are you going to gain weight on a 700 calorie deficit. In no physical way.
It's just increasing my protein, which by nature made my calories go up.
Exactly.
My portions are still the same.
Yeah. But we were both there. Like, I suffered from that too. And I'd say, I mean, what I went through in the first 4 months, you're going through in the first 4 months. So very, very similar. Like, you're changing what you're eating. I guess you're coming up soon on being able to have corn soon and red meat and pork, right?
Well,
6 months?
Already had corn.
Yeah, okay. And you've had pork, so you're fine.
Pork by accident. Oh
my God.
You're fine.
You're fine.
I've had corn. I've had popcorn. But yeah, red meat will be, it's funny because my 6-month anniversary of surgery will be my birthday. And we will be in Alberta. So I will be having some Alberta beef.
Good.
On my birthday.
Good.
Celebrate.
Yeah. I took a cruise at 6 months. So that just kind of proves to people like how good you feel. I took a cruise at 6 months and I did great. There was plenty to eat. I recommend cruises. We'll do a whole podcast on vacations, but I recommend them because they're so much easier than most places because of the buffets. They're usually really bariatric friendly. Bariatrics are huge in the US. These are US cruises. It's just,
they have a lot, like every video I've seen, they always have a lot of different diet because there's so many people on the ship they have to cater to, right?
Yeah.
So you'll have your sugar-free desserts, you'll have your dairy free, you'll have your
low cal, low carb.
Yeah.
So I'd say post-op, there's nothing crazy that we can tell you. No. It's pretty smooth sailing. It's rare you're going to have complications. You are going to have calls every 3 months. They're going to check in. They're going to, ask for your weight. They're going to check your food. They're going to see how you're eating. They're going to help you progress. They will always help you know, like, eat this much, try this, try that. You're going to get a full binder and book that tells you recipes and what you can eat. There's people like us that you can rely on. But basically in the first, I'd say 6 months of surgery, you're working out, your energy's starting to get really, really good. Your mental health, you should be feeling awesome. You are losing weight. Your face is skinnier. You're going to see it first in your face. Your clothes are going to get baggy. Don't be hooked on the number on the scale in the first few months. Don't, because you are going to stall. It's not going to be where you want it to be, but you have to look at pictures and your body because you're losing a lot and you don't realize that inches are coming off. So don't be obsessed with that scale in the first 6 months because you're going to be upset that it doesn't move the way you think it should. It will happen. Just give it time. But overall, it's just about learning how to re-eat. Meal prepping becomes a huge part of your life. So start learning how to do it now. Start building a great library of recipes. And then you're working out. You need to get up to that 30 minutes a day every day. You need to be walking and working out. But when I tell you that it's like a light switch, that you just all of a sudden have energy to burn, you feel really good. People have kept saying to me, in all the pictures that you've been taking after surgery, you just don't stop smiling. My good friends who live out west, Kendall, Sandy, hey, they said, I think it was Kendall who was like, you're so happy in every picture you take now. And I was like, yeah, I did not realize, like, I'm so happy in every photo. So your mental health is going to start improving. Your body's going to start feeling less sore. You're going to see changes in the first 6 months with blood pressure and blood sugar and any comorbidities you might have. You should start to see improvements there. I was off my blood pressure medication by 6 months per my doctor, not my own doing, which was awesome. It's exciting. Your first year flies by. It's exciting. It's exhilarating. There's a lot to learn and a lot to overcome. And Steph, you should weigh in here, but I think I went into it always positive. Like there were times I was frustrated, but I never felt angry, and I never regret this decision.
No,
to this day, this was the best decision of my life.
The amount of times I say I wish I would have done it sooner. Knock on wood. And again, I know this isn't everybody's experience, but knock on wood, I, like Hannah, no complications, no big issues, back to my normal self. I was really lucky. I had had a decent amount of weeks off work. I got super lucky. And for me, I found that really helpful because I could build in, it was really taking the time to focus on building in the new habits and getting into the new routines.
Yeah.
But knock on wood, it was smooth sailing. I have found myself, like I said, saying, I wish I would have known about this sooner. I wish I would have been sooner. I was going into it, the thought of it, I was terrified. I had a lot of doubts in the pre-surgery, like before I started the program. I had a lot of doubts. I had a lot of concerns. Oh my gosh, it's surgery. I knew I didn't necessarily have support from everyone in my family or in my circle. But I've used that to fuel myself because in my mind now, I will prove them wrong.
Is there anything that I kind of covered in the first couple of months that you would agree with or disagree with because you are so fresh into it?
Most of it. I think the big thing is track your food, like we've talked about. Give yourself grace, listen to your body, but start with those small habits, like start with the little bit of movement and just being consistent, because a lot of these habits you're going to start to build at the beginning are what's going to make you successful down the road. And by the time you hit this point, if you can make a lot of those habits second nature, it's just that much easier because like we've talked about, the surgeon said the first year of the surgery is their gift to you. The weight comes off. It doesn't take a lot of work. You're naturally losing weight. Once that 1 year mark hits, you're kind of on your own. So the more you can build up in these first few months, it takes a couple of weeks to build habits, right? So the more you can build up in these months at the beginning, the better you're going to set yourself up for success down the road.
Yes.
Ding, ding, for me, the scale has been the big thing. And I message Hannah all the time. I'm like, it didn't move last night.
I was
this
there.
Morning. So yeah, photos are a big one. Yes. And just enjoy the process. Take in the changes. Take in those non-scale victories. Enjoy your mindset shift, because I said on the last episode or 2 episodes ago, I'm not the same person I was when I started the process. I'm not the same person I was 3 months ago. Enjoy it though. It's a new normal. It's a new beginning. It's a new outlook. Just stop and take it in, and stop and enjoy all the little wins along the way, because there's a lot of them.
Yeah. And that's the thing. Celebrate the wins. Like, do not get hung up on the scale. Do not get hung up. I was there, right? I didn't have anybody I could reach out to, but I was like, I'm not losing weight. And like, there were times where I was so fixated on that I was like, I regret not taking more videos, not taking more photos, not documenting more. Even before, I regret not taking more before photos, because it's just crazy how different you look. And even now, like, don't stop after the first year. I wish I had more photos where I could go, whoa, year 1 to year 2, Hannah, damn. So enjoy the process. Honestly, I'm not even exaggerating when I say it's not painful. It's not hard to change your life. And again, we had sleeve, so I'm sorry if you're thinking of bypass, we don't have the insight there. But the reason we did sleeve was true. You are back on your feet and recover way quicker. Like, I was up and walking the second day, and I never stopped after that. I never felt like someone in recovery. I never felt like someone who had major surgery. So sleeve was awesome. You can tolerate food a bit better. You can move to the stages quicker. This still has dumping syndrome, as my projectile vomit stories have told you, but she's right. Like, just enjoy it. I think we'll briefly just cover like the differences between the program, and then we'll go, because it's an hour and people will hate us, but you had surgery at the same clinic I had surgery at. And there are massive differences 1 year out of those surgical programs. And that's shocking to me. We talk about this often, her and I, where I'm like, that wasn't my experience. That wasn't my experience.
I had more in-person appointments than you did. I was told to take my vitamins way
sooner than me.
Which that's the one time I threw up, was from the vitamin.
Because you should have waited.
We've had a few interesting, and even like I could have broth, you couldn't.
I wasn't.
There's been very interesting differences that we've picked up along the way. It's very odd. And then even, like as Hannah said, I had a friend who had her surgery recently, an hour away from where we had hers. I was 11 months from start to finish, and I think she was 2.5 months, 3 months. But just and like we were told no protein shakes. Her program relies heavily on protein shakes post-op. So it's very crazy how within the same province, within an hour distance from each other, night and day requirements, program outlines, post-op instructions, follow-up instructions. So do your research, right? Check out the different programs. I didn't know there was more than one program. I was told, have you heard of this surgery in Guelph?
Yeah.
And I was like, no, I haven't. And I just assumed it was Guelph. I didn't even know there were other ones out there. Not to say one's better than the other. They're both different. So do some research if you're looking at it too, and just know that there's differences between programs, but there's also differences in programs.
Yeah. And each of you are different as well. So your journey might not look like our journey. There are certain surgeries that certain people have to have. You don't always get to choose sleeve. You might have different things that we didn't have going into it. So you can't look at our journey and think it will look exactly the same. And also remember that some people lose fast, some people lose slow. But it's just know that even if you talk to somebody who just had surgery a few months ago, your program will probably look a lot different than theirs. They're constantly kind of changing and evaluating. A great example is she's on vitamin K and I'm not, but they've said that that's now super important for them to be on. And I was like, am I going to get a phone call about this, or I'm not? That's cool. That's cool. Thumbs up. That's cool. Like, great.
And I think now they allow coffee at different points than when I took the program. I have somebody who's just starting, a friend of mine who's just starting the program in Guelph. And she is, she's supposed to cut it out pre-op like we were, but post-operatively, she's allowed to introduce it earlier than we were. She still has a waiting period, but earlier than we were.
Must be nice.
And that's only 4 months difference.
Yeah.
Right? So
I also am pretty sure they would not recommend going on a cruise. They were quite anti-vacation at 6 months, but I did it anyway. So the clinic, honestly, we're just highlighting the clinics are there as support. They're not the law. And there's a lot that you'll notice that they tell you to do that differs so greatly. So it can be frustrating because there are things that, we've said, well, even before surgery, there's clinics where you don't have to do a liquid diet. You're allowed to eat up until the day you go in. There's clinics that don't do the protein shakes. There's clinics that love protein shakes post-op and give them recipe books. Our clinic is super against protein shakes. I have a friend going through the program and they're still telling her, like, you shouldn't be drinking those. We don't want to see you rely on them. And there's a ton of other doctors and clinics that are like, you absolutely need to rely on these. Like, these are a great tool. Use them as a tool. Like, our clinic can tend to be kind of like the good food, bad food. And I don't like that, but they tend to be a little bit more strict on things that I really don't think that they should be that strict on. Ours is a little more dated. I will say that I feel like we are behind the times a bit. But with that being said, our program took 8 to 11 months to get into. The other program is like a month to 2 months that you are in and then in surgery. And I don't think that prepares you for this life-changing thing that's about to happen. The reason they put us through what they put us through is that you need to mentally prepare for this. It's not just physical.
Huge change.
Yeah. And so we've both agreed that while it would have been great to have it done maybe a bit quicker than a year, it's too quick at the other clinic. It kind of doesn't feel like they're setting people up for enough success and knowledge on kind of what needs to be done. But all programs are different. Steph and I have had a different program, but at the end of the day, it all kind of gets back to the same place. Like, eventually we'll be eating the same amounts. We'll be meal prepping the same amounts. Like, we'll all end up where we're supposed to end up. But just know that your experience, no matter what clinic you go to, regardless if your friends have gone there or not, will be different than other people.
And that's okay.
That's okay. Sometimes Hannah gets really cranky about the fact that, like, what the hell? I didn't get to do that. Nobody told me about that. But there are also other things that I got to do that Steph did not get to do. So, you know, there are things that differ that way too, where it's like, oh, you know, that, you know, I'm super sorry about that. That kind of sucks. But overall, the best decision I've ever made in my life. I wish I made it sooner.
Yep.
I wish I ran headfirst into this years ago, because what it has done for my life is fucking incredible. I never thought it was possible to love my life more. I love my life so much.
Agreed. The seeing what's already transpired in 4 months gives me so much hope and excitement for what's to come. And I'm already planning activities in my head that I never thought I would do or want to do, and things I can do with my kids and adventures I can go on. And I'm now excited to go outside and go for a walk. And I'm excited to go on this trip in May and go hiking. And it's a whole new normal, and it's awesome.
It's great. And I can't wait to follow your journey. One day we'll be running together, but we're going to document all of this. I know we keep saying it, but we promise we will, on Instagram. And just kind of show you guys where we're at. So ask us surgery questions. We'll do more in-depth, shorter versions of surgery, but hopefully this gives you kind of a bigger picture. It's more upfront work. And then honestly, after the first, I'd say 2 months post-op, it all blurs together as a pretty easy, manageable time. Really, there's no major excitements or twists and turns. It's all work up front leading up to, and then the first couple of weeks you go home, the rest is gravy.
Yeah. Agreed. You get into the swing of things and you just go.
And you're fine. Thank you for joining us on a little bit of an extra long adventure. We're happy to have covered our journey. And as Steph gets further out, we'll let her do an episode to talk about where she's at and what her first year looked like. Because I know she's at the 4-month mark. I know that I had more insights to share because I'm at the 2-year mark. But we'll do a special episode on Steph's 1 year where she can talk and reflect on what has 1 year post-op looked like, and what her recommendations would be. But we love you guys for joining us. Please keep sending us what you want to hear and what you want us to cover. We love it, and we're happy to deliver.
Love it.
Awesome. Well, thanks always, Steph.
Thanks. Episode 10 done.
Love it. Can't wait to do episode 20.
Bye, guys.
Bye, everybody.